Imagine you get a call from your friend's family who just had a heart attack, begging to know if there's a doctor. These are critical moments to save her life, but doctors are on strike. A life lost. For the doctor, it's just a life lost. But for her family and friends, it's their whole world lost. Good evening to the House at large. The motion today is this House to prevent critical services from striking. I am the first speaker, Inaya Gurnani, and I do a few things in my speech today. 1. Set up this debate. Talk about our stakeholders. 2. Give you our burdens. 3. Arguments and then close. The topic this House to prevent critical services from striking means that workers in essential jobs like healthcare, emergency services, and public transportation would not be allowed to stop working to protest, ensuring these vital services are always available. We stand for ensuring that essential services like mentioned remain uninterrupted. The stakeholders at large are the general public, workers in critical services, employers in critical sectors, government, and policymakers. We all agree that essential services like healthcare, emergency services, and public transportation are vital and should always be available, right? Okay, so our team approved two things to you today. Preventing strikes in critical services is essential to maintain uninterrupted access to vital services that protect public health, safety, and economic stability, and the benefits of doing so, such as ensuring continuous service and safeguarding public welfare, that outweigh the potential drawbacks, providing a net positive impact on society, enhancing humanity, as well as enhancing humanitarian grounds. Preventing strikes in critical services is necessary to ensure uninterrupted services for the protection and well-being of the public. Evidence shows that disruptions in critical services cause quite a scene, such as strikes that erupted in the UK as well as France. Both these events resulted in significant disruptions to healthcare access, economic losses, and potential risk to public safety. The impact of preventing strikes in critical services is like having a reliable superhero who's always on call, ensuring that vital services run smoothly without the drama of an unexpected blockage or dismay of errors that disrupt our daily lives. It's a guarantee that when we need it the most, whether it's for healthcare, transportation, or emergency responses, the show goes on without the chaotic antics that leave us scratching our heads. Maintaining uninterrupted critical services through preventing strikes enhances public trust in governmental and institutional reliability, ensuring confidence in consistent availability and quality of essential services. During the strikes in London, most communities reported increased stress and frustration, resulting in a notable rise in coffee consumption and the flood of humorous memes as people look for a comedic relief for their commuting challenges. The impact of preventing strikes in critical services is akin to having a trusty sidekick always by your side. No unexpected villain disruptions or comical mishaps, just consistent reliability that ensures essential services like healthcare, transportation, and emergency responses to run smoothly. It's like having Robin to Batman, ensuring that when a city needs help, there's always someone reliable to count on for a seamless experience. So now as we close, I'd like to remind the House that we showed you about the impact on public welfare and service reliability that we are able to achieve exclusively on our side and that it cannot happen on the other side. As Mark Twain famously quipped, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Like ensuring critical services keep rolling without starting any strikes. With that, I rest my case, but never ever my stance. Thank you.
The motion before us proposes preventing critical services from striking. I aim to convince you that prohibiting strikes in these essential sectors would significantly jeopardize the rights of workers, hinder effective negotiation processes, diminish government accountability, and potentially contradict international standards. Definition: critical services are necessary to life, health, and safety. Examples are police, firefighters, and doctors. Burden: it will benefit individuals and protect the rights of critical service workers. Argument 1. Worker rights and international standards. All workers, regardless of their profession, possess the fundamental right to collectively bargain and take industrial action to enhance their working conditions and advocate for fair treatment. This principle extends to critical services such as police, firefighters, and healthcare professionals who play vital roles in society's safety and well-being. Denying these workers the ability to strike undermines the bedrock of fair labor practices, stifling their ability to negotiate improvement in wages, working hours, safety protocols, and other essential aspects of their employment. Moreover, international standards underscore the recognition of workers' right to strike, including those employed in essential services. International bodies emphasize that while workers in critical sectors have the right to strike, measures must be in place to ensure that minimal service levels are maintained to protect public safety, health during labor disputes. These standards aim to balance the rights of workers with the imperatives of maintaining essential services that communities will rely upon, especially during emergencies and critical situations. Thus, the debate surrounding the motion to prevent critical services from striking must carefully consider these dual perspectives: the inherent rights of workers to collectively bargain and strike for improved conditions, and the international standards that advocate for balancing these rights with the continuity of essential services crucial for public welfare. Argument 2, effective negotiation. Strikes serve as a potent mechanism for workers in critical services, such as police, firefighters, and healthcare professionals, to compel employers to address significant workplace issues. By leveraging the power of collective action, workers can bring attention to and seek redress for issues such as stagnant wages, unsafe working conditions, excessive work hours, and inadequate benefits. This ability to withhold labor empowers workers to negotiate more favorable terms that not only improve their immediate working conditions, but will also contribute to long-term improvements in workplace fairness and safety standards. Moreover, the threat of strikes encourages employers to engage in constructive dialogue and negotiation with their workforce, fostering a collaborative approach to resolving disputes and implementing reforms. This process not only strengthens labor relations, but will also ensure that decisions regarding working conditions are made with input from those directly affected. By preserving the right to strike in critical services, we uphold a vital aspect of workers' ability to advocate for their rights and contribute to a workplace environment that prioritizes fairness, equity, and employee well-being. Argument 3, government accountability. Prohibiting strikes in critical services could inadvertently reduce the pressure on government and employers to adequately fund and support these essential sectors. Strikes serve as a vital tool for workers to highlight deficiencies in funding, staffing, equipment, and overall support needed to maintain high standards of service delivery. By threatening to strike, workers advocate not only for fair wages and better working conditions, but also bring attention to systematic issues that will impact the service quality. Without the option to strike, there's a risk that government and employers may not feel compelled to address underlying challenges faced by critical services. This could lead to ongoing underinvestment, insufficient staffing, outdated equipment, and more. Judge, if you value worker rights and effective governance in critical services like police, firefighters, and healthcare, understanding the role of strikes is essential for ensuring fair treatment and maintaining high service standards that protect public safety. Thus, please vote for opposition. Thank you.
Just because I'm a fireman doesn't mean I'm a slave. I enjoy my right to say no. However, considering that lives are involved, I should give ample opportunity to my employer to either resolve my requirements or hire someone in my place. I cannot take a one-sided action to blackmail my employer or a strike. Good morning to the House at large. I'm Shara Vaishya from the second speaker from Side Proposition. Two things in my speech today, some rebuilding and arguments and some rebuttals. First, some rebuttals. Is a strike necessary? What about collective bargaining or requests? Isn't the safety of the public the priority? I ask opposition, what is the job of a critical service worker? Exactly, to protect the public. Moving on to some arguments. Doctors, police, and firemen are striking over issues like heat waves, but these roles are critical for survival. Strikes in these essential services can cause severe problems, from delays in emergency care to increased risks for public safety. Such actions harm those who rely on these services for their lives. Moving on, compromise patients' safety. When working conditions deteriorate, doctors may strike to address issues that put patient safety at risk. One critical issue is inadequate staffing levels, which can lead to longer wait times, rushed consultations, and more medical errors. Such conditions compromise the quality of care and endanger patients' lives, making it essential to address these issues and ensure effective and safe healthcare. Not just healthcare though, other services. What if a robber comes to you and steals your thing? You don't want to be waiting for a strike to finish until the police can come and try and track him down. What if there's a fire in a local building? Do you really want to wait for at least a few days until the fire dies out? Then the firemen come later once it's all done? Do we really want to lead to such critical errors due to some mistakes? These issues need to be solved at a lower point, not by striking. This is not the way to do it. Thank you. With that, I rest my case.
So first, I want to clarify that the opponent's second speaker didn't respond to any of our points, so they have dropped all of our points. Next, I want to say all your condition for this debate, opponents, is for that they must strike. But judge, look at this topic. This topic means that should we allow or not? We're allowing, but it's not that. Does that mean that after we set this law, you are allowed to protest and strike? They strike. I do not think that this works as this kind of system and way. So we do not mean that if you set this law, they must strike, right? So they also think that if it is necessary, then we strike. If it is unnecessary, there is many things we should do. We should cure people, we should save people, we should put out fires. Then why would we strike? They also have their minds. They're not stupid. They also have logic, right? If there are some emergency, why would they strike? Because it's necessary. It haven't reached 1 minute yet. Sorry. So it's unnecessary. So judge, please notice down that this debate is about allow or not allow. But after we need to strike or not to strike. Now after say about this, I want to say the benefit of striking. The striking, the first one, they talked about that it may have one doctor is curing someone and they strike, life's dead. No, but I believe this system is not like this. It's not you're curing them. Your medicine here, strike. No, not like this. This was ridiculous. I think their logic is worse than ours. And lastly, I want to rebuild our points and rebut all their points. Our point we have said about that if we strike, it is necessary, and we can reflect the things that made the government don't know, because no government can go to the hospital, the firefighter, and the police officer to ask if their environment, how they work is good or bad. They need to do it themselves by striking. Only that can make the government notice and the country notice that there's a problem running through it. Okay.
You mentioned that they're not stupid, and I'm not saying that they are stupid. I'm not saying that your point is irrelevant. You said that but wouldn't they know that not to strike if the public safety comes first? As my second speaker said that there's local fires around, they would know not to strike, and they would know to save the public first. What do you have to say for that?
We're allowing them to strike, but not saying that they must strike, right? We're allowing them if there is an emergency, if it thinks it is not unnecessary, you won't strike. They won't strike. They're not stupid, right? So I don't see. I think you are asking something I have already said in my previous speech. So please not interrupt. Now I'm going to start rebuilding my first speaker's speech again. So we also said that it is not our government's accountability to do all the things to care all the workers about how their work style and how their environment are. It's their responsibility to reflect this kind of status quo to the government and the country. Next, if even the small workers and those workers have the right to strike, why won't we give them right when they are so important? Just that you say they're very important, why shouldn't they have this right? So for above reasons, please vote for opposition. Thank you.
Good morning, panel. I'm the third speaker of the proposition, and there'll be three things in my speech today: the battles and some rebuilding, comparison between both worlds, and I'll end with some exclusive impacts. So panel, what is it our side had to fulfill today? We had to show you how when critical services strike, it is bad for society. Here's what broadly happened in the debate so far. These themes came out: better health, safety, and the responsibility of the people who will strike. During the course of my speech, I'll show you how our side has more gains on all those themes. But first, with some rebuttals. Starting with one of your arguments, this will lead to job loss. Prohibiting strikes in critical service does not necessarily lead to job losses. Here are some key points to consider: stable employment, alternative dispute resolution, employer responsibility, investments in workforce, public and political influence, which will all workers should advocate for better health treatment. Can this not be done through alternative methods like addressing this straight to the head of department, protest in peaceful ways instead of putting people's lives on the line and just not working? You also stated that they strike because they need to, and they're doing it because they have minds. While workers have the right to strike based on their needs and decisions, while workers have the right to protest based on their needs and decisions, they should not stop working completely. Strikes in critical services can lead to significant consequences. Even though they have valid reasons, the service disruptions in sectors like healthcare and emergency services can endanger lives and destabilize communities. Balancing workers' right to public welfare is crucial. And alternative dispute resolution methods like negotiation can address grievances without compromising the essential needs and services for public safety. You also said this encourages constructive dialogue and negotiation. Is that what you call not working and demanding for more money? Like what's going on just 2 days ago with the junior doctors in Britain who are striking during a heat wave when people need medical care? Now, let me compare the impacts from both sides. In a world where critical services go on strike, the potential for severe disruption and harm is significant. When healthcare workers, emergency responders, or public transportation employers strike, the essential services are interrupted, jeopardizing public safety and well-being. For example, a strike in the healthcare center can delay urgent medical treatments, endangering patients' lives. Similarly, a transportation strike can halt daily commutes, disrupt the economy, and create a widespread inconvenience. Moreover, strikes can lead to chaotic situations during emergencies, as the absence of crucial services can exacerbate crisis. On the other hand, in a world where critical services cannot go on strike, there's a guarantee of continuous and reliable service, which your side lacks, ensuring public safety and stability. Citizens can depend on consistent access to essential services, which is crucial for during emergencies or crisis. And this is why our world is better. This approach encourages alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, such as addressing your problem straight to your boss, or even maybe taking it to the court of law, but not putting people's lives on the line and compromising essential services for the society. The reason we truly deserve your vote is because we were able to show you some exclusive gains on our side that the other side has lacked: uninterrupted work, economic stability, public confidence that the starting with continuous service, citizens can rely on continuous access to essential services without disruption caused by strikes. On economic stability, uninterrupted services in critical sectors supports economical stability by preventing disruptions that can lead to productivity losses, business closures, and economic downturns. Public confidence. This continuous access to essential services enhances public trust and confidence in government and service providers. It demonstrates a commitment to public welfare and ensures that basic needs are met reliably, even during challenging times. So for all these reasons, we believe that we fulfilled our burden. So proud to propose. Thank you.
So in this speech, Judge, I'm going to give you clarifications to the winning issues and why we should win. So firstly, our opponent tells us not everyone can be doctors, so they're not based on that POS we asked. But actually there must be a reason that they are striking. And also the second speaker agreed with our first speaker talking about the points we have said. They say that the workers do not have to strike and they can compromise. So that they actually agrees to our first speaker's point talking about governments to pay attention to these strikes. And then also, Judge, you see that this debate is about whether we should allow or not, and not whether they should strike or not. Our opponents are basically considering about the point, saying that whether they should strike or not, and they should not strike. But actually, we give you the reason about our framework, our burden, and also give you the reason explanations why they should actually strike. Because of benefits of strike, in key sectors are mainly reflected in enhancing and also spiritual strengths and political influence of the working class, enhancing the status of the working class at home and maybe abroad, and also laying as important groundwork for the future development of the workers' movement. So actually, Judge, you can see that it will basically enhance spiritual strengths, and firstly is about enhanced spiritual strengths and political influence. We say that just like our first speaker had mentioned about, we say that key sector strikes strengthen the working class and also increase political influence through board participation and also strong social influence. This form of workers movement not only persuades the economy legitimate rights and interests, but more importantly has a profound spiritual and also the political impact on the working class. And this cannot be ignored by opponents. And since our opponent, Judge, you see that since our opponent did not respond to any of our points, please note this down. And also the strike can cultivate the spirit of the solidarity among the workers and also encourage them to organize, which plays a positive role on our side, also in strengthening people's faith. So basically you can see that for the points we had talked about, which is effective negotiation, which our opponent basically did not touch for our three arguments. We say also for the government accountability that actually by strengthening to strike, workers advocate not only for fair wages and better working conditions, but also bring attention to system issues that impact service quickly. So to summarize all of our case, we say that we have three arguments, and since our opponent did not respond to each of them, we think that we should win for all of them. And then secondly, we give strong explanations and also rebutted to their detailed points to why we should win. And so for these reasons, just you can see that opposition actually has a clear rebuttals and also explanations to why they actually should strike. And we're saying that we believe that this house should not prevent critical services from striking. So for these reasons, we only urge opposition ballot. Thanks. Today, my team had talked about 4 compelling points to improve that people working in critical services should strike if they want to by using points like worker rights and international standards, effective negotiation, and government accountability. Now, firstly, the second speaker did not rebut my points, which means that they have nothing to rebut me. They have nothing to say. That's why they dropped our points. So this just proves that they're not even confident in what they're trying to say. Also, our opponents acting like we're forcing people in critical services to strike. However, we're not. Not everyone can be a doctor, police officer, etc. So they're not stupid. Why would they strike when everything is when everything is going smooth? There must be a reason. They already have a wild work schedule. If they don't get paid well, they're not happy and they cannot afford nutritious food and even more. Thus, they cannot perform well. How are they going to serve the general public? Our opponents are making it sound as if that the people in critical services are striking for something silly, like, oh, we all need bunny slippers to work. Our opponents also talked about how a farmer doesn't mean a slave. Yes, quite understand your opponent. I don't know, but what does that have to do anything with critical services? Are you stalling for time because you don't have anything? You don't have enough reasons to back up your points? Also, they talked about how when there are fires, if workers are on strike, it will take days. However, how do you know that all of the firefighters will be on strike? During strikes, not 100% of the workers have to be on the strike. It doesn't work that way. A strike is not forced. And they also said that a strike is not necessary and they could have compromises. That is what I am trying to say. They're not dumb. They might need a compromise because maybe the machines are not working and not getting paid well. So the government will compromise. Why would critical service people be striking in the first place? Our opponent is not even confident about whether or not they should strike. Thus, we clearly win that clash. Lastly, our opponent also talked about economic stability. Limiting strikes in critical services hinders workers from addressing unsafe conditions and low wages, essential for their well-being and productivity. Thus, dear esteemed judges, if our society is important to you and if you think that people should work in critical services matter, please vote for opposition because we actually have valid points. Thank you.
Decide opposition, no. not care about the lives of thousands, maybe millions of people who require the assistance of these critical services? Striking is not the way to communicate about their issues. Plus, you said that it's not the government job. It is the government's job to protect the interests of the people and the critical service. We all agree critical service workers are not robots, but their job is the public service. Side Op is going on and on and on about the freedoms and rights of critical services, and we agree they are not slaves. They have the right to say no. But once again, does Side Op not believe in the well-being of the people in the world? Their world is one where practically all critical services are under strike. Patients are left in beds, fires are left unattended, robberies left alone. Your model is uncharitable. It doesn't consider the people of the world. You have failed to address the fact that other alternatives are unavailable. A collective request would be so much better. The public will always, and by always I mean always, be under stress over whether critical services are under strike or not, whether they are safe or not. Tell me, side opposition, how are you going to protect the lives of the millions of people who require assistance immediately? Reduce number of workers if it reduces efficiency. It could take hours to respond to a call. And you're saying that we don't have a proper world? With that, I rest my case. Thank you.